Let's check out the song. Memories and When to Fly. You're right, Ryan. I recognize it. I was like, oh, I see what you're talking about. I'm like, am I gonna recognize this? Because I've never seen the name before, and I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I know this melody. Yeah. That tone is beautiful, man.
Yeah, Konami's getting her like inner Santana out on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful tone. Yeah, before it gets into that, that's really cool that what you just said. Playing the lead bass and then Miku doing finger picking and stuff like during it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Miku's finger picking the back rhythm, so that's really cool to see her do a different technique and stuff.
Cool.
Any other comments before I play again?
Right. Just sounds really pretty. I know this song from not Genshin Impact. I know this song from just existing in the world, right? And like I feel like everybody's heard this song.
Dude. Fuck.
It's like 3 songs in one.
Band, dude. Awesome.
I love hearing Akane play at these slower tempos where you can really hear what she's doing, because a lot of their original songs, there's so much happening, especially on Unleash, where it's like, what the heck's going on? And her drums sounded so much more organic than usual in this one.
It's phenomenal, yeah.
Did anyone hear that? Like,
it's just fucking beautiful, man. Everything about it.
They
go into the BAND-MAID stuff, but they didn't overdo it. They still respected like the whole feel of the song. It's just fucking great.
Whoever mixed this did a fucking fantastic job. This is like flawlessly mixed too. On top of that,
I guess Twitter's active right now with Konami and Bo tweeting to each other about this.
What?
Yeah. Somebody said in the chat, so I'm assuming.
What do you think, Champ?
I thought it was beautiful, man. It sounded really, really good. You know, like I feel like we all know that song, right? And we all know what BAND-MAID can do. And I thought that it was a nice combination of the two sounds. I especially like the fact that Konami didn't shy away from, keeping a little bit of her own flair in there with some of those, like, you know, ending sort of transition riffs into the next part, where you could just hear that BAND-MAID pop out just a little bit more than normal, you know, in those moments. But yeah, it sounded really nice.
I think they kind of like only Misa like kept her original playing style, where like I don't know if I would have known it was BAND-MAID if somebody played that song to me. You know what I mean? But it was phenomenal. But it's still phenomenal. Like, and it's cool that they could just do whatever genre they want and just do that.
Yeah.
But they really
and nail it.
Yeah. I know what I noticed was Misa was the only one that kept like the BAND-MAID style going along, where everyone else is just playing spectacular. But it was, I wouldn't have been able to know. Like if it was them.
I feel like there was one particular part, like towards the end there, where I wish I could tell you exactly where it was or what happened, but Konami was playing that sort of lead riff of the song, but as she transitioned into the next riff, she kind of like went down the scale, and you could hear like a diminished note in there, and it kind of sounded like the most recent version of BAND-MAID coming out in her a little bit. It was just like 3 notes where I was just like, oh, that sounded like BAND-MAID right there, you know. But outside of that, yeah, you're absolutely right.
We're gonna say Wave.
Awesome. I love how it changed up so much from part to part. It was literally like 3 different songs, you know,
super cool,
with completely different feels, even though it's covering the same melody and chord structure and everything. It was like they were like, how can we make this sound different in each part and like progressively get more and more interesting, you know?
Yeah, it was like the epitome of a 3-act song, right?
Yeah.
Where it was like, it started off like nice and clean, and then it built into that sort of little bit more of an epic feel, you know, big, open, sort of rocky feel, but then it got into the faster sort of like rock and roll sound.
Yeah.
It was a nice combination for sure.
Oh, that drum fill it kind of did at the very end for the outro.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was good.
Yeah,
Like
then when I went back and listened to it again, listening to Misa, it's just like, oh my God. It's just so ridiculously fun to listen to and just follow her along in her own little journey through that song.
There's another thing. Like, how many bands have the song start? Well, I guess Konami did some lead at first, but like have like the bass playing the lead melody of the song.
The vocal melody. That's just fucking cool.
That is very, very rare. I can't even think of one off the top of my head. I mean, I'm not saying that they don't exist, but just like, you know, we've all heard a lot of music before. I can't think of one, you know, without really doing some research on it.
I want whoever mixed this to mix some BAND-MAID songs in the future, to be honest.
Right?
I was like...
that it did sound so good.
Man.
It was so
fucking good. Guitar a little bit.
It was so fucking good. I mean, it was like flawless. Like, it really was. Like, there wasn't anything wrong. You know, I was like, wow.
Alan likes the mix.
That's what I noticed, like, listening to the new album on headphones, and when they were kind of slightly hanging out of my ears, where the low frequencies weren't sealed in.
Yeah. Like
the drums popped so much more. And then when I pushed them back in and the low frequencies came in, they were muddy, you know? And like this mix, they had those low muddy frequencies scooped out of the drums so they could really pop.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a hot take or not, but I'm not the biggest fan in general of BAND-MAID's mixing on their albums. I think they do a fantastic job on like their official live videos. For whatever reason, I think they sound so good when they do stuff like that. But you know, like when I try to play BAND-MAID in my car, for example, and I don't have my headphones on to kind of like separate the sounds as much, it ends up feeling like I feel like I can't hear everything as much anymore. You know?
I do the thing that Ryan says.
It's not a hot take. It's been going on a lot, and I have to. You got to adjust your shit, man.
I was just about to say that. What you were gonna say, I just do what Ryan said. Just adjust. I just adjust it, but.
I mean, that's like, you know, watching Game of Thrones and having like that fucking super dark episode.
Having to turn up your
goddamn brightness. And I'm like, nah, dude, every other episode was at the same fucking, like every other channel's playing at the same brightness. Why do I have to change it just for this channel? I get what your point is.
I agree.
I agree. I understand too. It is annoying that you have to adjust so much for them, but it's like me too. I got to turn bass down. And it sucks now because you can't adjust shit as easily. There's all these fucking presets built into everything. You don't know where their bass line is. And it's got to be impossible for bands to mix to please everybody. I was talking about this online. It's like 30 years ago, it was easy. Everybody's listening on the same kind of shit.
Yeah, it's very true.
You know,
very true.
In your car and everything's kind of standardized. It sounded like shit from the factory.
Yeah,
but they had EQs in it. And then you had a home stereo with an amp and separate speakers. And now everything's going on little tiny speakers or fucking headphones or in a car that you can't independently adjust the EQ. It's all presets that you have no fucking control over. So
I will say
being
this.
able to get a happy medium mix has got to be so difficult to do.
I will say this though, Unleash made a really huge improvement with it because I'm telling you, I was listening to Avatar. Avatar has a phenomenal mix to their sound, and I played those back to back just by accident. And I was listening to Influencer. And I'm like, holy shit! I did have Bose speakers in the car. It was my rental or whatever. And I was like, God damn, this sounds really good. But it went right to Avatar and was perfectly even. And I was like, holy shit.
Wow.
Like there's such a huge improvement when I went there. So there is a significant improvement in that album. Because when I listened to it on YouTube Music, oh my gosh, so much better than music video. Like hands down. So I do think they've been improving it for sure.
Unseen World has always I've had a rough time getting it to sound good in a car stereo. Like systems I'm used to, it's always too much. World Domination sounds fucking great though.
Instrumental version seems to be better though, don't you guys?
Yeah,
think?
I think so too. Yeah,
like they improved the mix.
Is like it's like great. I agree, Wave.
From Now On was the one that sounded the best in my car out of all of the songs, and I don't think it's just that it was an instrumental. It's not like I don't know if they changed like what they did for that specific song for what they were doing in the other songs, but when I put that on, I had my regular just like 000, right, treble bass mids. 000 sounded great. I could hear everything. And then when we went on to the next song, what's the second track on there? Is
Balance?
Balance.
Yeah. My son was listening because I was showing him in the car, right? Because I listen on the headphones, right? But then I show him while we're driving around, and he was just like, "Is there static?" And I was like, there's no static. And I turned down the mids, and I turned down the bass, and I turned up the treble, and he was like, "Oh, that sounds better." And I was like, "Okay, so that's not it wasn't like it was hard to fix or anything like that, you know what I mean?" But I did feel like there was a bit of a difference between those two.
You shouldn't have to change your setups on like one album. Set it up for an album, but yeah, doing it from song to song is pretty annoying.
I think in that instance they would have
to set up anything. I just play it. I find the most consistency, which I miss my Subaru, rest in peace. But my CD player, man, that's why I loved having the CDs, because I felt with my CDs, they were always so much better. Like my Unseen World CD sounded better than YouTube Music and all that stuff. My acoustic BAND-MAID CD sounded better. The Domination one sounded better on the CD. So maybe it goes back to what Ryan was saying, like, you know, when you have that consistent sound, because when CDs were coming out and you popped them in, they're just louder. Like they're just louder and fuller and feel good. I don't know.
Yeah, what is it? It's uncompressed music. It's uncompressed music.
Lossless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ryan.
I would say what you're streaming, like if you're streaming from Spotify versus YouTube versus fucking whatever, that changes the sound so much. So then that, you know, that gets amplified by whatever other fucking presets you're going through on your stereo or whatever. So there's
Spotify ruining everything.
And it's not, it's like all of them, right? Because like if you listen to, like if you put on Spotify, I think Spotify sounds worse than YouTube Music. Yeah. But if you put on just regular YouTube, I think that sounds worse than Spotify. So it's like there's these levels of how good the quality actually sounds after it's been compressed by these, you know, apps or whatever, you know, these platforms.
Everybody's got different fucking ears too.
That also true. That was proved like 2 years ago with that challenge where you listen to that word and you can't tell which one it is. Remember that?
That's very true.
You don't remember that? It was like there was this word that would be said, and you would either hear like green or you would hear like a totally different word or some shit like that.
I think I remember stuff like that, like a picture where it either looked purple or it looked yellow.
Oh, you're thinking of the
dress.
Picture. You're thinking of the dress right now, right?
Yeah.
It's a similar idea, but there was an audio one where it was like you could hear I think it was green sleeve actually. I think you could hear green sleeve, or you could hear something totally different that it didn't sound anything like that, and it depended like apparently like on your age and stuff like that, like how well your hearing had developed. It's cool though, but like I think ultimately CDs still at this point sound of any medium that has released music in like the last 20 years actively, CDs I think still sound the best.
I always love that because I never fucked with anything. I just pop it in. It's like whatever, I never. Yeah. But when I put in my MP3 players, like, you guys remember those MP3 players after the CD before they went to phones,
like iPods?
Yeah, you had to, or you take the USB stick and you just go.
Yeah.
Stick it into the fucking.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about those.
Yeah. We instantly went to iPods after that.
Yeah.
The iPods weren't great though either, because if you remember, like as soon as we got the iPods, we also got that connection where you plug it into like AM radio in your car, and that was like the worst sound that you could get.
But I can hear what I want.
Yeah, I can hear the song, but I'm only getting like 13% of it.
Yeah, people start compressing their MP3s down to like 92 bit rate or kilo, whatever it is. So it was like shaved off the top frequencies above like 8,000, and it was just like
maybe
but you could fit 10 million songs on a gigabyte.
Yeah, seriously.
You're saving your ears, I guess.
Quantity over quality, right? For more Gaijin goodies like you just saw, be sure to subscribe to the Gaijin Guys podcast and turn on all notifications to be part of the live stream every Sunday. You can also find us wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, etc. You can find even more exclusive content and reactions on our Patreon, patreon.com/Gaijin Guys. I'll see you there. Adios.